Hello, welcome to today's edition of the Academy. Today we're going to continue our look at Sun Tzu's chapter 11. We're going to skip down to sentence 29 and read 29 and 33. Now, sentences 30 and 31 really have to do with their further explanations of sentence 29 or examples, but I'll be honest, I have a tough time seeing how he's really using that to justify or explain sentence 29. I won't go into it here, but let's just, for the sake of brevity, we'll just kind of skip over that and just stick with sentence 29 and 33. All right, so let's dive in. 29. The skillful tactician may be likened to a shuaijian. Now, the shuaijian is a snake that is found in the Jiang Mountains. Strike at its head, and you will be attacked by its tail. Strike at its tail, and you will be attacked by its head. Strike in the middle, and you will be attacked by head and tail both. How to make the best of both strong and weak? That is the question involving the proper use of ground. Now, these two sentences do differ, okay? They're two different concepts, but I figured it's just best to tackle both of these in just one video. So sentence 29, I'm talking about this snake called the shuaijian or something like that. Now, whether it's mythological or maybe a misunderstanding of the snake's behavior doesn't really matter. The point is still very valid. The illustration is, again, a snake that if you were to attack, I'll just go to the last one, in the middle, what's going to happen is he's going to attack you with his mouth and attack you with the tail. So it doesn't matter where you attack, you're always going to be attacked by more than just one thing. So, what is he trying to tell us here? He's really trying to explain or illustrate for us the importance of being sure your essentially opposite ends of your army, whether it's front and rear or especially side to side, left to right flanks, can support one another if the other one's attacked. Now, if you remember in actually quite a few of my videos in the Academy, I've discussed the importance of concentrating your firepower, I shouldn't say firepower, your actual combat capability into one portion and only one portion of your opponent's army. Because a lot of players, a lot of generals like to spread their armies out. Now, it's not necessarily always a bad thing to have your army spread out. Sometimes there's very valid reasons to do that, and so I'm not going to, I don't want you to get the wrong impression here. But, you know, my earlier videos were talking specifically about how do you achieve the unfair advantage by concentrating your combat capability against smaller portions of the opponent's force. Okay, so you know your opponent is going to try to do this at one point or another if they're smart. So what you need to be able to do is to ensure that the different parts of your army physically located, center, middle, right, left, right, center, right, all can support each other mutually. Now, there's two ways of doing this. One is, both of them require the rapidity, okay? One is the rapid movement to support and basically close in and attack the attacker of one side. So let's say your right flank attacks, your left needs to be able to cross essentially the entire table and very, very quickly to engage the opponent and bring your entire force to bear on that one location. Alternatively, though, you may not need to move, but you may need to make sure that your weapons on the other side of the table are able to reach those target points where your opponent is located on his approach, right? By doing so, your left flank can support your right flank when the right flank is being hit by everything, okay? Same thing, whether it's attacked in the middle, both flanks can support, whether it's physical movement or whether it's just shooting. And similarly, the left attack, the right can swing around, okay? Very important concept, because if you are unable to rapidly redeploy or make sure you can engage targets from across the board, then you are not putting pressure on your opponent, and then they will be able to get that local combat capability superiority that they're striving for. The way, by using this illustration, the shuaijian, I think that's how you pronounce it, you are going to strike his army, though it be concentrated with pretty much all of your army, even though that's not how you initially deploy. So that's what he's really trying to get at there. Now, I will take one stab at sentence 30, just to kind of put it in perspective. He says, if asked if an army can be made to imitate the Shuaijan, I should answer yes. For the men of Wu and the men of Hui, I don't know how you pronounce that, it's Yueh, are enemies. Yet if they are crossing a river in the same boat and are caught by a storm, they will come to each other's assistance, just as the left helps the right. So here it seems like maybe he's talking a little more on the grand strategy side of things. So, where you are going to have, if there's maybe a common thing that even two enemies share, a common some value that is being threatened, the two will end up helping each other. So essentially, it's not you against your enemy, but you against your enemy and their now new friend. So I don't really think that 30 applies, but you can see the concept that he was, or illustration he was using there doesn't quite mesh. So I'd like to make sure I concentrate on sentence 29 relating to the tabletop. How do your left and right especially are able to support one another through speed of movement or through range of firepower? Okay. All right. So now moving on to sentence 33. Here again, how to make the best use or best of both strong and weak really is a question of the ground, right? So he's talked a lot in previous chapters about the ground, terrain, right? And the general, and you actually, I'm sure all of you have seen this in your own armies that you're playing, regardless of what game you're playing. Putting them in terrain helps certain units last longer. They've got cover, right? Some sort. It either makes it harder for the opponent to shoot, or makes it harder for them to wound you. Okay. Either way, it covers their weaknesses. Putting a non-armored unit out in the open, it's going to get mopped up pretty quick. Put them into some sort of cover, right to the right ground, and they're much stronger. Again, taking a unit that maybe is not strong in close combat, putting them behind a barrier that is extremely difficult to charge through, if not impossible, that counteracts their weakness. That turns the weakness into the strong. And we talked about in a few videos before how it's important to cover your weaknesses, either through, in this case, terrain as he's recommending here, or through other means of deception or whatever. So here, Sun Tzu is trying to really pick out the importance of terrain, hoping you'll remember what he talked about in the previous chapters on terrain and the ground. So now take a look at your army, look at the tabletop that you're going to be fighting in, look at the terrain, and how do you make your units, your weaker ones, stronger? How do you make some of your stronger units, the opponent's stronger units, weaker? By using the ground. It's the question you got to figure out. So find the areas of ground that give you good cover and benefit yours. Find the ground that hampers your opponent. A cavalry unit cannot charge and operate effectively through dense forest or very rocky terrain. So a lot of game systems reflect that. So use that to your advantage. Put yourself, your units, whether they're strong or weak, in positions like that to minimize the strength that the opponent can bring against you. So analyze each piece of terrain that's on the board and see how does it mesh with your units to basically strengthen your units, and how does it interact with your opponent's units? How does it weaken theirs? Those are the things he's trying to get across here in this particular sentence. So I don't think I'm going to go any deeper into that one because this actually is a subject of we've gone into very, very deeply in a lot of different ways. I'll probably have several different videos in the coming months covering various topics on this. So for now, we'll leave it at that. So these are the two sentences, very simple here. We've probably got one, maybe two. There'll just be one more chapter or one more video in this. So we're really having to pick some sentences out very, very carefully here. And then we're on to chapter 12. So we'll leave it with that. And I hope you found things in this video useful. If you have any comments, please feel free to put them below. Share your insights into what you just heard. And we'll see you in the next edition of the Academy. All right, bye-bye.